This is AZ Audibles. I'm Haley Stasiak here with Eric Sorensen and Sports 360 AZ's very own Devin Henry. Devin, we appreciate you coming in. Excited to have you. Let's jump right into things. Let's go over our regular season takeaways. It's already the last week here. Devin, what do you got?
You know, sometimes it's hard to say thanks or good job to Big Brother, but I got to give it out to the AIA a little bit with these new alignments that we had this year. I feel like when you look at the 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, it's a little bit more stacked on top. I know we talk about how stacked the 5A is in general, but I really like how at the very top there's not just Centennial, there's also Notre Dame Prep, because Steele has been doing really good and growing throughout the year. And then Williamsfield, 6A, Liberty jumped in there along with Queen Creek. Highland, Pinnacle, it's not just Chandler. I really kind of like how this alignment is kind of added in, you know, maybe not 1 through 16 the power, but, you know, at least the very top 1 through 6, 1 through 4, it's, you know, you kind of put a mask over some of those teams and go, who's going to be in the semifinals this year?
So looking at the broad spectrum there for the regular season, for me, it's Basha and Brophy's seasons. These two teams have had new head coaches. Those coaches have come in and really kind of reshaped these teams from what they were in 2017. Basha and Brophy met last week. Brophy won that one 28-23. Their regular season is over. Brophy ends at 7-3. That's their regular season record. Now look, this is Basha's third head coach in the last 3 years.
Yep.
And for these seniors to come out and be 6-3 now, heading into the last week of the regular season, I just think it's such a good thing. I'm so happy for these kids because they get to go out on a winning note with a winning record. With Brophy, there's so much to look forward to. John Kitna's come in and taken over for Scooter Molander and just rebuilt that history and just the notoriety that the Brophy Broncos have had in so many years. And there's lots to be excited about with this Brophy team because they're really, really young.
Let's focus in on the Mountain Point Pride. Roller coaster season. Started off 1-3, have won 3 of their last 4. Their only loss, a last-second setback to Desert Vista in the Ahwatukee Bowl. And this is a team that defensively is starting to get it done. They've always had athletes. Jakeem McKinney, one of their top running backs, as well as Nick Waller said, Haley, you know him really well. Veteran quarterback, likes to run it, can sling it a little bit too. This is a team that's going to be interesting to follow because I really think they're battle-tested. They've played some really good teams, Chaparral, Queen Creek, Highland, and they're sort of rounding into that postseason form. And I know Rich Wilbrock always has his team ready come playoff time, so keep your eye on the Pride.
Well, now that we are in the last week of the regular season, that means playoffs are right around the corner. What are the storylines you guys are following as we head into the playoffs?
Key teams with injured quarterbacks. Last week, we were all hyped up for the Chaparral Pinnacle, Spencer Rattler versus Jack Miller. Both those quarterbacks are hurt. I expect both of them to miss some more time. Even Centennial, Devin, Jonathan Morris, their starting quarterback, rolled his ankle against Ironwood. Didn't play last week. Not sure how he is going to be hanging in the playoffs. I assume he's going to be all right. The worst news of all had to be Devin Larson, Queen Creek's veteran quarterback, out for the year, hurt his shoulder. You're talking about someone who's played varsity since their sophomore year, over 7,000 passing yards, 75 touchdowns. You just can't replace that type of leadership, much less the production. He's been the X factor, and the Bulldogs have been really impressive. You talked about the realignment. Queen Creek has really made a splash in 6A, but they're going to really be challenged now moving forward into the playoffs.
I'm going to piggyback off of that, Eric, with Pinnacle's quarterback situation. Spencer Rattler's down. Don't know how long he is going to be out. He could be out for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Looking at this, they've got J.D. Johnson. I saw him against Mountain Point, just unbelievable kid, was able to step right in when Spencer went down in that first quarter. Didn't look like he missed a beat. Looked like he had been the starting quarterback since the very beginning of the season, and that was a couple games in. But J.D. Johnson has about 1,000 passing yards, 8 touchdowns. He's been in almost 7 games this season. Pinnacle is 8-1, heading into a big, potentially playoff season here. I'm looking forward to seeing how he steps up into this role now that it may be a little bit more sure that he is the starting quarterback here.
Nice luxury for Dan Zupke to have his backup quarterback also a Power 5 offer kid. So don't feel too bad for the Pioneers. I think they're going to be all right, regardless of what happens with Spencer Rattler.
Definitely.
I'm going to step back into the 5A, 4A conference. Centennial is my West Coast bias, but Centennial, they really haven't played anyone besides you had that Bishop Gorman game early in the year, and Bishop Gorman hasn't shown up to be the Bishop Gorman that we know. And then Castile week 0, and you know, Castile has definitely grown since week 0 going into the postseason, but they're really young. And there's, you know, we talk so much about Toby Walker and how good he's been executing, running, and even receiving every now and again, and defensively too, and he does everything. But Jonathan Morris, like you mentioned, he might be injured, but he's just a junior. A lot of the core of this offense and defense for Centennial are just juniors.
That's scary. That's scary for the rest of the teams in the state because Centennial, I mean, they're, like you said, they're not just a power in the West Valley, they're a statewide power, and they are clearly the lead dog leading in the playoffs in 5A.
Last week of the regular season, the playoffs are on their way. Keep it here on Sports360az.com for all of your high school football coverage. We'll see you next week.